Hi, everyone. My name is Katie. I come from a small town in Montana. It's not quite a small town, it's actually the capital of Montana. And I grew up with this kind of, I guess, small town mindset. And as I grew up, it became very relevant that that wasn't for me. And so throughout my life, I've created kind of this alternate lifestyle. I travel, I became a dive instructor, I've worked in yachting, which is very strange considering I come from a landlocked state. And in all of this, I learned a ton of lessons. I've made 1,000 mistakes, and I just wanted to come on here and just share some of my experiences, my stories, and kind of show other people who are maybe from a small town or just different lifestyles that there are alternative lifestyles and alternative jobs and really also how travel has changed me into the person I am. So uh, one thing that really sticks out to me about growing up in Montana is everyone thinks, we rode horses to school, that what else was the other misconception? Basically, we were all cowboys. Um, Also, you have to remember when I grew up, we didn't have like iPhones. We didn't even have computers until I was in maybe middle school. And so we did a lot of playing outside. Um, our connection to the world was through TV. So the news and movies, things like that. But even in the news and in movies, especially in the United States, well, especially because Hollywood has dominated the movie scene for so long. Everything was more localized, more about like the United States and what's happening in the United States. So, obviously, as a little kid, like we weren't concerned with that. We were playing outside, we were riding bikes, we were playing kick the can. Um, I was fortunate enough to go to camp in the summer. And so it was truly a magical childhood in that I really cultivated friendships, played outside, really was disconnected from the whole technological universe that we have now, right? And so, um, how I got to where I am now is a long story. So, in this series, I'll love to share stories and other things, but kind of the quick and dirty of it is I, I went to high school I went all through school in Montana, I even went to college in Montana. And one of my first ventures out of the States, besides like a little hop over the border into Mexico or a hop over the border into Canada, my first big like out of the country experience was I spent 3 weeks abroad in Rome, study abroad with the University of Montana. It was amazing. And our teacher, Linda, she put it all together, right? So she logistically, she had the accommodations, the transport, the itinerary, everything set up for us. So that was my first experience out of the country. And even though, so we were college students, we did have a bit of autonomy, like on the weekends we could go to different places. That's the first time I ever traveled by myself. I took the train up to Milan. So that was exciting and something totally different from the US. How many of us have actually traveled on a train in the US? between cities, maybe locally, if you're in a big enough city, you have trains that go town to town, but I've never done that. So to travel between two cities on the train was like super exciting experience. And then my next big like travel out of the country was I spent 6 weeks abroad in Mexico, also studying. Again, our teacher, set up everything. So we had homestays, we had school um, during the day, but the immersion in the culture and especially the homestays, my language completely, how do I say this? My respect for a different language other than English just exploded because growing up, I feel like our teachers encouraged us to take a different language, but it was never like really drilled into us that like the rest of the world doesn't all speak English. A lot of the other countries learn English growing up, but um, in the US, especially when I was growing up, it was kind of like, oh, you don't need to learn another language because everyone speaks English, which is so untrue. So, learning Spanish, being in Mexico, and actually like being able to speak the language and converse with people in their native tongue was a huge like pivotal moment in my life, and just the respect of the people I met and learning the language was incredible. Like the experience was so much different once I could actually converse in their native language. So that was amazing. So those were kind of my first two real experiences out of the country. And I want to backtrack a little bit because growing up, from a young age in Montana, I feel like the jobs we were told we could have, it was like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it was always like a teacher, a doctor, a lawyer, what, a principal, maybe, teacher, secretary, you know, maybe nurse. Like there wasn't a whole lot of expansion out of those like kind of core jobs. And so literally, I want to say, even going into college, I was like, well, the only way I'm going to make money is if I become a doctor or a lawyer, which doctor kind of appealed to me. Lawyer, like, I mean, I understand what lawyers do now, but back then I didn't understand that. So, growing up with kind of this small town mindset of, okay, I need to get a job, I need to get married, have kids, and then I'll retire. And that being in my brain, even in college, I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I got to college thinking like, okay, I just need to graduate. As soon as I graduate, I'm going to get a job. And like I said, get married, have a family, and then go from there. And with these two study abroads I did in college, it just really opened my eyes up to the world, and even though like Rome's in Europe, obviously, Mexico, I didn't travel, I traveled really far compared to other people from my hometown who, some of them, I don't even know if they've been on a plane before. So I just really wanted to come on here and explore like other opportunities and alternative lifestyles compared to what we were taught as kids. Um, what do I do now? So those are kind of like the initial mindsets and like the thing that got me into travel. And what I'm doing now is I'm a dive instructor. I've been a crew member on yachts, and I've led some group travel around the world. So, which kind of plays into those two first teachers I had who were taking care of all the logistics and planning and itineraries. So I've also been lucky enough to lead some groups around the world. And yeah, so why I'm here is to just really show you guys what other things you can do out in the world and kind of flip the switch on like mindsets of small towns. Because I wish I had someone when I was younger telling me, like, you don't have to be a doctor, you don't have to be a lawyer. Like, you could be a seamstress, you could move to, I don't know, Thailand and cut hair for a living. You could crew on a yacht, like I had no idea about the yachting industry until, several different things happened in my life where I was like, whoa, this is like a whole industry. So